Hey guys, today I'm going to be trying out every single product that I got in this week, whether it was in PR or things that I purchased myself. So you're going to follow me throughout the week. I'm going to get the products in, unbox and swatch everything, and then do a try on. So I filmed a lot of footage. I haven't edited and put it together yet, but I have a feeling this is going to be a really long video. And once I test everything out, be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll let you know what my favorite and least favorite products were that I got a chance to try. So if that sounds good, let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. Hey guys, it's Monday morning. I just dropped off my son at school and I wanted to show you what came in over the weekend, and we'll just open everything up, try it on. What the heck was that? It was like a weird creaking sound coming from my refrigerator. I don't know what that was. It could be the ice maker, but that was creepy. All right, so I went to the mall over the weekend. I went to both Ulta and Sephora. Don't worry, I didn't buy this much from Sephora. I know it's a huge bag, but they didn't have little ones left, so they just gave me a big one for a couple of things. And then I got a couple things at Ulta, and also Alter Ego sent me their new Dreamgaze palette, and I am so excited to try this on. Wait till you guys see this. It's so pretty. I already took a peek, but we're gonna just go upstairs and swatch everything and then try everything on as well, or at least as much as I can, and just do a full face for today. So let's check it out. Okay, so first up, this is what came in that giant Sephora bag, just these three little things. And by the way, apologies about my nails. They're chipping, so I have to redo them this week. But the first thing that I got is from Glow Recipe, and it's their Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Hue Drops. So these are like bronzing drops. They're in the shade Sun Glow. And I really like the original version of this, so I thought, why not try the bronzy one? And this says you're supposed to use it as the final step of your skincare routine. So normally you would use your moisturizer last, but even though this is a serum, they want you to put it on after your moisturizer, or I guess after even your sunscreen, because at the end of the day, it kind of is more like makeup. They also said that you can mix this in with your foundation, so that's something that you could do as well. And I mean, when you pump it out, it looks kind of dark, so I'm hoping when I blend it, it's gonna sheer out a little bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, actually it has a really nice watery texture. It's super thin. It feels exactly like the original serum, so it's nice and plumping, really hydrating, but it just gives you that little tiny bit of color. I feel like this is so great for maybe somebody who doesn't want to wear bronzer, but you just feel like you're really pale from the winter. So yeah, it really just adds the tiniest little bit of color, even though it came out looking super dark. So this is really nice. I can't wait to try this on. We're definitely going to try this today. Also, we have the Protect Tint Daily SPF Tint from Supergoop. So this is SPF 50, and basically it's supposed to be like a tinted moisturizer, but with SPF. So here's a look at the bottle. It does look pretty tiny, but it's saying on here that it's 1.18 fluid ounces. So a standard size for a foundation or a skin tint. I think most brands just make their packaging huge compared to what's actually inside. So this is like kind of more realistic, I guess. So on the back, it looks like this has a mix of both chemical sunscreens and also mineral zinc oxide. So it says it's non-irritating, no synthetic fragrance, it's vegan. All right, let's see. I got the color 20C, so it's supposed to be more of a cool tone shade. And from the bottle, it definitely looks like it. So I'm just gonna put it over here. All right, I think the color actually looks really good for me. It has that perfect cool pink undertone. There's no orange or yellow to it at all. And it's not overly peachy like I feel like a lot of things are these days that say they're cool toned, but they're actually not. By the way, I burned my knuckle on the oven, so I feel like I'm always doing that. But anyway, that's what that is. So this looks really nice. It has a little tiny bit of tint, not too much, but I think this would be great on no makeup days just on its own, but you could probably just layer a foundation on top as well if you want a little bit of extra coverage. And then the third thing that I got is from Ilia. It's their Skin Rewind Complexion Stick. So this says that it's weightless, firming, and smoothing. It's a ceramide peptide complex, and it's supposed to have butterfly, lavender, and kelp extract. So I got the shade Ash 10C. Again, this is supposed to be more cool toned. And it says, the fountain of youth in a foundation stick. This groundbreaking formula fuses weightless buildable coverage with powerful firming and smoothing ingredients. It has a natural matte finish, that melts in and moves with you, staying seamless for up to 12 hours. With every wear, fine lines and wrinkles visibly soften for a youthful, lifted look, no needles needed. So this sounds incredible. Wait, is this supposed to be dented like this, or did that happen in transit? Like the box looks fine, so I don't know if maybe that's just like for you to hold it there. I don't know. Interesting. But anyway, when I saw that description, I was hooked. I wanted to try this because I'm not a huge fan of most foundation sticks, but those of you who watch my channel regularly know that I just got the Lancome foundation stick and I love it. I feel like they've come a long way from the 90s and back in those days when they were just like so thick and cakey looking. So I'm hoping that this is good. It has really great claims. So I have stuff on both hands. I'm just going to put this down here and I guess we can look at the color. It doesn't look super cool toned. Yeah, like when I'm swatching it, it actually looks very peachy, but it does have a creamy feel. I'm just going to kind of blend it a little bit. Yeah, it is very weightless. It doesn't have that really thick feel that a lot of old stick foundations had. So, and it seems like it's going to have decent coverage as well. I really hope this is going to be good. And then moving on, when it comes to Ulta, I actually got another foundation stick that I've been wanting to try. This is the Fenty one. So many of you guys told me that this is amazing. So I got it in the shade 4. Hopefully it's okay. And then I also got 2 of the new Tarte Maneater Satin Blushes. So these might look exactly like their Maneater Blush and Glow, but the satin one is supposed to be just less glowy, and I think it's supposed to have maybe a little bit more pigment, at least from what I've seen. So I got 2 colors, Mauve and Poppy. I'm really excited to try these. So let's just open them up. It says that it has Voluplump Complex for cheeks that appear plumper and lifted. It gives a natural flush of color with a satin finish and a unique cooling serum texture that smooths. So Poppy looks like it's going to be a super fun, bright color. And then Mauve is like the most gorgeous, dusty, pinky lavender. I love this one. So let's just swatch these out. Here we have Mauve. Oh my goodness, look at this color. For those of us who like cool tones, that is beautiful. And then here's a look at Poppy. Ooh, that's super bright, but I feel like if I just put a tiny little bit, that's really like one of those colors that's just gonna wake up my face. So let me see. I'm just gonna blend them a little bit and just see what the color looks like blended out. So yeah, I think I put a little bit too much of the Poppy shade to blend it out completely, but I think you can get a good idea of what these are gonna look like. But I'm gonna put them on my cheeks anyway in a few minutes, so we'll see what they look like then. All right, next let's look at the Fenty foundation stick. So this also says it's supposed to blur and smooth. On this side it says blurs and evens complexion, light coverage, and a smooth glide stick. All right, so again, I have the shade 4. Here's what the packaging looks like. It'll be interesting to kind of compare this one to the Ilia head to head. I'm excited to see how they both perform. So this one also, what color was this? This is number 4. So it looks really similar to the 10C in the Ilia. It's a little bit peachy looking. So I'm just gonna put some right here. Almost the exact same color actually. And I'm noticing a difference right away. I feel like the Fenty one is a little bit creamier. It feels a little softer, maybe slightly more hydrating than the Ilia, and they both feel extremely lightweight. So I think these are gonna be good. They don't seem like they're gonna be cakey or dry looking at all. All right, so that's my Ulta haul. Next, let's take a look at the new Dreamgaze palette from Alter Ego. So packaging is just absolutely gorgeous, and it does kind of give you a hint of what's inside. So let me just show you. You've probably seen it online by now anyway, but here's again the outer packaging, and it's a dupe for the Natasha Denona pastel palette, which I'm pretty sure is already gone, like discontinued. So they have set it up a little bit differently. I'm gonna grab my Natasha Denona one in just a second, but I like how Alter Ego kind of puts all the colors in a little bit more of a cohesive way. Like the Natasha one, the colors are all over the place. I like that they put the rosy tones together and the blues together, and then the yellow and green in the center. So, all right, let me just go grab my other one and we can compare. Okay, so here's the pastel palette, and you can see like all of the colors are just kind of random, or maybe not random. I mean, I'm sure she had a reason for putting them where she did. And I do think like there's something to be said for just the artistic layout of this one, as opposed to the Alter Ego. I think is just a little bit more functional. Hold on, let me get it. I'm trying to do it with one hand. But yeah, this one's just, I think, a little bit more functional. You can see like exactly the colors that you have at a glance a little bit easier. So if you're trying to create a look, I find that it might be quicker to use the Alter Ego one, whereas this one, I might have to kind of study it a little bit and try to figure out what I'm gonna put with what. And there were some cream shades in the Natasha palette as well, so I'm guessing Alter Ego must have some creams in theirs. So I wanna just do a couple of quick live swatches. We'll get a feel for the formula, and then I'll show you the whole palette swatched. So I really love this shade. This was like my favorite one in the Natasha Denona palette. And this was my other favorite. I think this is the duochrome. I'm just gonna swatch these here. Yes, that's that gorgeous duochrome. Like, look at how beautiful that is. I definitely want to use that one today. I just want to see if some of these are creams. I know in the Natasha Denona palette, this shade was a cream. And yes, it appears to be in this one also. And this blue one too, I think. Yep, okay. So yeah, they definitely copied, you know, the way that the formulas are as well. I'm not like the hugest fan of pastel palettes. I find them to be a little bit tricky to use normally, but I think they're a nice spring option at the same time. So this purple one is also a cream shade. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just swatch the whole palette out on my arm, and I'll swatch it next to the Natasha Denona, and I will be right back. Okay, so we have the Alter Ego down on this side and Natasha Denona on the top, and I really think they did an amazing job with the color matching. The only shade I would say is a little bit different is that duochrome. I think that the Natasha one has a little bit more of the blue in it, and the Alter Ego one, I don't know, it's just not quite as, like, it's not popping as much. So it has a little tiny bit of a shift, but not nearly like what the Natasha one has. But other than that, I think all of the colors really match up perfectly, and even the cream shades, they swatch the same. So I'm excited to put both of these on my eyes, and we'll see which one comes out on top. So let's try on some new makeup. I'm just gonna apply some of the Clarins lip oil because my lips are feeling really dry. I'm really hot too. My husband and I just went for a walk out in our neighborhood, and we live in a cul-de-sac, and it is so warm out today. It feels more like May temperatures than March. It's in the high 60s. So I wasn't prepared for that. I was wearing a coat, and by the end I was like, oh, please, like, take this off. So anyway, I really want to try the Glow Recipe bronze drops. So I guess we'll start with these, and I'm not going to be able to try all of the foundations today. So I was thinking about doing the Ilia foundation stick, and then maybe we'll try the Fenty foundation stick another day this week. So I'm just going to start working this into my skin. I already have on my moisturizer, sunscreen, everything. So they said this is just supposed to be the last step. And I'm so glad that this is more on the sheer side. I think this is going to be a really nice color. It almost seems to have a little bit of that rosy undertone. It doesn't look like it when I pump it out on my hand, but once it's blended in, I feel like it looks so natural and it's not orangey at all. I'm just gonna put a little bit down my neck though, because I think then my face and my neck are gonna be two different colors. So anyway, I do think this gave my skin a really nice glow, and it feels super hydrating. It adds a little bit of plumpness. So, so far so good. It also smells like watermelon. I don't know if I mentioned that. So next let's try the Ilia foundation stick. Again, this is in the shade 10C. I actually have a breakout right here on my cheek, which I feel like I never get breakouts, but it's really random. I'm just gonna apply this from the stick and then blend it with my fingers. And I know some people will say use a brush or a sponge, but when it comes to foundation sticks, I think the beauty of them is that they're so quick and easy. I've just always blended them that way. And I think if you have to like start taking out brushes or wetting sponges to blend this, it takes the ease of use out of it. It's just supposed to be something like really quick and easy. So I'm just using my fingers with that in mind. And so far it is blending out really nicely. It has a nice lightweight feel. It doesn't look cakey or crusty or anything, which is good. It just kind of melts right in. And I think it's giving a really natural finish. I'm just putting a little bit extra on these blemishes right here and see if I can build up the coverage, because I would say it's like a light to medium. I don't think it's even like full medium coverage. And I'm trying to get it to cover my nose as well. Okay, so I just did this half of my face over here, and then this half is without the foundation. So I definitely see my skin tone looking a lot more evened out over here versus this side. And I'll be sure to zoom you guys in a little bit closer once I'm done and we can take a look at the finish really close and personal. All right, so here we are zoomed in so you can see the finish on this. I'm looking in the mirror and I think this looks really nice on my skin. It's definitely not like the foundation sticks of old that were just thick and heavy and crusty. Like this just has a really nice skin-like finish. It looks really, really natural. Again, I wouldn't say that it has the most coverage. It's more than a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer, but a little bit less than your standard medium coverage foundation. But otherwise, I love that it looks like skin and it was super just quick and easy to use. Let's move on to eyeshadow. I'm just gonna use my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly to just even out the skin on my eyelids really quickly. I have a little bit of discoloration there, and I think this shade matches my skin tone almost perfectly, so it really just helps to kind of create that even canvas. And then I want to start with the Natasha Denona palette, and I'm going to use this purple shade. I think I want to use the duochrome today for my lid, so I'm just going to put this purple cream all over my lid. And because this is a cream shadow, I'm not going to use a fluffy brush. I'm just using a flat brush. This is the one from my Jen Phelps collection with Doll 10. And these cream shadows are very sheer, so they're not going to build up to like more of an intense color. They sheer out quite a bit as you put them on the eyes. So honestly, I'm not going for like a really bold look today. I just want something really soft and simple. And unless I get another eyeshadow palette for this week, I'm probably going to be doing a few looks with this one. So I'm going to try to just create looks that I would wear in my everyday life. I'm not going to use a million different colors. I usually keep things really, really simple. So you're going to see me using this palette how I would normally use it just to go out somewhere in my daily life. So now that the color is down, I'm just going to take a small blending brush. This is the A502 from BK Beauty, and I'm just gonna kind of blend out the edges of this a little bit and just make it look more seamless, or at least as seamless as I can get it. All right, that's the Natasha Denona side. Then I'm gonna dip into the Alter Ego Dreamgazer, and I'm gonna use the shade Spell, which is right down here. All right, let's see if this one applies the same way and if it's as pigmented. I mean, I would say yes. It has the same softness to it, and it is shearing out a little bit as I'm blending it onto my skin. I also think the color is spot on. I think they did a great job with this. Okay, then back to the Natasha Denona palette. I'm gonna use the shade Duet, which is this duochrome right here. And I think for today, I'm not gonna use glitter glue. I usually do, but I'm curious to see how the shadows will last without the glitter glue. And then when I do another look with this palette on a different day, I will use the glitter glue. So I'm just popping this right in the center of my lid. This color is pretty subtle for the most part, doesn't have a lot of sparkle to it. And then in the Dreamgazer palette, I'm gonna use the shade Charm. And you'll remember when I swatched these that they didn't look exactly the same. The Natasha Denona one seemed to have more blue in the formula, and this one is just a little bit more pink. It has a little bit less of the shift. So just quickly zoomed in, I want to talk about the differences between these because as you can see, the Natasha Denona one is a lot smoother, whereas the Alter Ego, you can see like the little glitter pieces in it. It just looks a little bit more textured to me. So it's a different look. I don't think one is necessarily bad and the other one isn't. I think it's really just what your personal preference comes down to. I do think that this one looks a little bit more purple with the added blue in it, and this one just looks a little bit pinker. So I don't think they're exactly the same, but I like the way both of them came out. I think they're just different. All right, so next up, I'm just gonna apply mascara, and this is the new Tarte Tartelette XL tubing mascara. So this one, as you guys know, I've talked about it a lot. I really love it. This Tarte one reminds me a lot of the Thrive. I think this probably comes the closest. It's a really nice one for sure. All right, so eyes are done. Let's check out these Tarte satin blushes, the man-eater ones. I really want to use the mauve. I think it'll go really well with the eye look that I have, and maybe I'll use the poppy one a different day this week and we can see what that looks like on as well. So they say to just put 3 dots on your cheek. I don't want to put that much because I'm a little nervous that these might be pigmented. So I'm going to put 1 dot to start, and I'm going to use the BK Beauty 112 brush to just start blending this out. It basically has the same serum-like texture that the old ones have, but yeah, it's definitely not quite as glowy Just gonna put a little more. I'm probably gonna end up using 3 dots, but I just find it easier to kind of work in layers. I don't know if it's just me, but if you put too much at once, it just seems to start getting patchy and lifting up your foundation underneath. So I'd rather just add it a little bit at a time. Okay, so there's 2 dots. I think this is so beautiful. I might just put a tiny little bit more, but that should be good. I really like that it's a nice thin texture. It just kind of sinks right into my skin. It's not leaving it feeling sticky. All right, so that's what the color looks like. I'm just gonna do the other cheek. And I'm just sort of patting at this with the brush. I'm not swiping because again, I think that's when you start to like wreck your foundation underneath. So I'm just doing it really carefully and just using like a stamping motion. All right, so here's what the mauve shade looks like. I think it is such a beautiful cool tone color. For lips, I don't have anything new, so I think I'm gonna wear this Wet n Wild Soft Blur lipstick in the shade Homecoming Queen. So what I like to do with this, I don't use it on dry lips because it is a matte finish and I feel like it could get a little bit dry. So now that I have the Clarins lip oil on, I'm just gonna add a little tiny bit of this, not too much. And with the lip oil underneath, it really helps to give it some hydration. And then what I like to do is just kind of blur it with my finger. So it really just leaves me with like a soft lip stain. But it adds just a little hint of tint. I don't want a bold lip because the rest of my look is really soft. So yeah, just a really quick, easy, simple look. And tomorrow, I know we still have the Fenty foundation stick to try and the Supergoop sunscreen, also the other Maneater blush color. And I want to try to do another look with the Alter Ego palette as well. So we'll have to see what comes in tomorrow or later on this week. But right now, that's the plan. So I will see you then. Hey guys, it's still Monday. I just got the mail and I got a package from Huda Beauty. And this is the Faux Filler lip glosses. So these are brand new. I think they're launching March 13th. So by the time you guys actually see this video, they'll already be out in stores. So she sent me all the colors plus some lip liners. So I figured we could just go upstairs, swatch these, and try them all on really quick. Okay, so I just took all of the glosses out of the boxes, and these say that they are distractingly glossy. So let's see what's inside here. It says it's the glossiest, glassiest gloss I have ever tried. So glossy you can see it from across the room. It says they have vitamin E, vegan collagen, plant-derived melted waxes for the shiniest glass-like finish. It's supposed to melt onto the lips to smooth and blur fine lines, creating a lip filler effect without any tingling, just full looking juicy lips. So I do like that. It's kind of similar to something like the Maybelline Lifter glosses, for example. And it looks like it comes in 7 shades. These are $19 each. And like I said, they're going to be available starting March 13th. So by the time you watch this, they're already going to be out. So I figured we could just do some quick swatches. Packaging wise, they look really pretty. I love the square tubes, and the packaging feels really heavy. Like it feels like a very thick walled kind of plastic. So there is one shade called Glassy, which is just clear. So I'm probably not going to swatch this one because it's not going to look like anything. But let's go ahead and just swatch the rest. So this one is Sugar Baby. So this is like a really beautiful baby pink. It's very cool toned. I like this one. And then the next shade is Honey. And this is a light nude. It kind of has like a little bit of a peachy tone to it. So this is pretty as well. The next one is Foxy, and this one, ooh, it's like a really beautiful terracotta shade. I like this one. Then we have Bombshell, and this looks like a rosy pink. This is gorgeous. This one might be my favorite just from looking at it in the tube. This is Posh, and it's a gorgeous mauvey shade. It has a little bit of a purple undertone, so that's gonna look really cool toned on the lips. And then the last shade is Cocoa. And it's a beautiful brown. I think it's probably not going to look nearly as dark as it does in the tube because it's more on the sheer side, but that's pretty as well. But obviously we're going to put these all on my lips so you can see what they look like that way. And then just quickly, she sent over some coordinating shades of the Lip Contour 2.0. So let's just go ahead and swatch these really fast. All right, first up we have Muted Pink. I'm just going to put these here. So that's Muted Pink. This is so creamy. And then next is Terracotta. This one looks like it would go really well with the Foxy shade. This next one is Pinky Brown. Ooh, that is so pretty. Then we have Deep Rose. Then we have Warm Brown. I would use some of these honestly just as lip colors with a clear gloss on top. They're so beautiful. And then the last one is Rich Brown. All right, so there's all the liners and the glosses. Let's go ahead and try the glosses on. All right, so I didn't expect to be sitting here again today, but things often come in at just all random times of the day. If I had known I was getting these today, I would have just waited and done my try on all at once. But anyway, let's go ahead and I guess we'll start with the lightest shades first and then work our way up. So there is a clear one, which I'm not going to try on because it's just a clear gloss. So the next lightest one I would say is Sugar Baby. And this one is such a beautiful cool tone pink. It's like a baby pink. This is actually more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. And they have, I would say like a coconut scent, very similar to her other lip products. It also has a little bit of a cushiony texture. It's not a really thin lip oil style formula. It's a little bit more of a gloss, but it's also not super shiny either. It's kind of a little bit on the subtle side as far as shine goes. So this one is Sugar Baby. Next up is Honey, and this one looks like a really pale nude color. And I would say this is the type of formula you really don't want to put a lot of it on. I just put some on my bottom lip and then like rub my lips together to add it to the top lip because they're a little bit thick. And I feel like it's the type of gloss that might end up getting a little bit goopy if you put too much. So this one again is Honey. Next up is Foxy. Then we have Bombshell. This one is a gorgeous rosy pink. I really love this one. This one's called Posh and it's more of a mauvey shade. It has a little bit of a purple undertone. And then Cocoa looks really dark brown in the tube, but because it's so sheer, it just looks like a little bit of a deeper nude on me. So this is so pretty. So I find these to be kind of interesting because in the pamphlet, it shows like super, super glossy lips. And on the inside, as we saw before, they talk about being distractingly glossy, that it's the glossiest gloss ever. I don't personally feel like they're super glossy unless I just didn't put enough on. It did say in the pamphlet that the applicator is designed to really load the product onto your lips. So I want to do that really quickly and see what happens. I went kind of sparingly with them because I felt like this thicker formula is the type that tends to kind of stick between your lips and make those weird strings that look really awkward. So I'm going to try, this is the shade Posh. I'm just going to add a little bit more and see if I can get that really glossy look that she's talking about. So yeah, this definitely is adding a much glossier effect, but oh my gosh, like it's getting all over my teeth. There was just like a big hunk of gloss on the front. I just personally feel like this formula is way too thick to load it on like this. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think if you put these on sparingly, they're fine. They're not going to give you that glossy effect, but they're also not going to get all over your teeth. I just got more on my front tooth now. So I'm just going to kind of blot this with a tissue and take off the excess because I think it's just way, way too much. I do think that it's a really nice hydrating gloss, and because it's hydrating, it's helping to really fill in those lip lines and make them look less apparent and make your lips look smoother, which is what this gloss is supposed to do. But at the same time, I also don't feel like it's a miracle or anything. I mean, the lifter glosses from Maybelline are extremely similar. They actually remind me of those quite a bit. The NYX lip oils also do the same thing for me, or the Milani lip oils. So I feel like there's a lot of very similar products to this at the drugstore. And those are formulas that I feel like I can apply a lot more, especially when it comes to like the NYX lip oils or the Milani ones. I can apply like as much as I want and they don't end up getting all over my teeth. So I definitely like these. The colors are absolutely beautiful. I especially love the Posh shade and I love Bombshell. Really all of them are super pretty. So I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comment section. Hey guys, I'm just picking up my son from school and I wanted to do a check-in with the Ilia foundation and also the eyeshadows just to see how they're holding up. So as far as the foundation goes, it looks really nice. Like it definitely looks very smooth on my skin. As far as like foundation sticks, it's a really, really nice one. I think it's super natural looking. I wouldn't say it has the best coverage. I probably could have added a little concealer like under my eyes and around my nose because I feel like I don't have the best coverage there, but otherwise, I think it looks really smooth. Let me just go over more towards the window so you guys can see. Like, I mean, I think it looks nice. The Tarte blush also is still holding up. I applied everything, I want to say 5 hours ago, and it still looks pretty good. The eyeshadows, this was the Natasha Denona side, this is the Alter Ego side, and I think the Alter Ego one looks like a little more sparkly. You definitely see those glitter pieces in there, but you know, I think they still both are holding up really well even without the glitter glue. So I'm pretty happy with everything today, but we'll see how things go tomorrow. Good morning, guys. It's Wednesday, and I just got a couple packages in late last night that I wanted to share. The first one is from Jane Iredale, and it looks like they have a new collection for spring. There's some new eyeshadow palettes and blushes, and their formula is so good. If you haven't tried it, it's so silky and smooth. And also their lip stain. It's kind of like a balm stain, which I haven't tried before, so I'm excited to test all of these out. And then I also got a package from Milk Makeup, and they sent the Cloud Glow Primer. So this looks really interesting. They kind of have it on like a little cushiony cloud. But anyway, it says that this is a priming foam, and it's supposed to be smoothing and glow boosting and all of that. So I figured we'd just check all of these out upstairs. We'll unbox and try everything, and then I'll put it all on my face. So let's go ahead upstairs. All right, so first let's check out the Cloud Glow Priming Foam from Milk Makeup. So this says that it has turmeric extract to help brighten your skin. It has saffron extract to help reduce redness. It also has apricot to nourish the skin and lock in moisture. And it says that it has a light as air texture that floats over the skin, creating a smooth, breathable canvas for makeup. So it comes in a cute little foaming bottle, and let me just shake it up a little bit, and we'll see what this feels like on. So there it is. It just looks like foam, and it is very, very lightweight. Let me just see if it smells like anything. Yeah, it has kind of like a little bit of an herbal scent, and it feels really nice. It's making my hand feel super smooth already. I'm wondering if it actually is supposed to like smooth out the pores. It doesn't really say that. It says that it gives you a little bit of glow, but I'm not seeing glow as far as shimmer or glitter. Like there's none of that in here at all. And it's also not particularly dewy on my skin. My skin just kind of drank it right up, and it's drying down pretty much all the way, but my hand feels super, super smooth where I put it. So this is really interesting. I'm excited to give this a try, so we'll definitely put this on today. And then let's check out the new Jane Iredale products. So I have to just say right off the bat, this is the prettiest package. When I opened this up, I could smell the dried lavender. It just smells so, so good. Okay, so we have 2 eyeshadow trios and also 2 of the new blushes, and then the lip stain. So this is actually a lip and cheek stain, and it's in the shade Forever Peach. So I'm just gonna move the box over, and we'll check out the eyeshadow palettes first. So this one is called Wildflower. Ooh, look how pretty this is. So you have this gorgeous peachy tone. You have this one in the middle, which looks so sparkly, and then you have a deeper brown like for the outer corner. So that's really gorgeous. And then the other one's called Honeysuckle. I love like the spring floral names. That's so cute. So this one, you have a lighter shimmer shade, like a gold, this shade for the crease, and then you have this beautiful warm brown, and it has like these flecks of copper in it. It looks really dimensional. So that one, again, you could use for the outer corner or just to make more of a smoky eye. So let's just go ahead and swatch these really quick. I'm just going to do live swatches, and I think her eyeshadow formula is gorgeous. Like, it is so smooth. If you haven't tried it, just in general, I think her powder products are amazing. So let's do the shimmer shade. And then we have the lighter shade. Like, these just glide on like butter. And then the deeper shade. These feel so soft. All right, so that's Wildflower. All right, and then for Honeysuckle, I'm just gonna do the shimmers first. Okay, so here's the gold. And then we have the deeper brown. And then we have the matte brown. It's just so silky and soft. All right, so there's both of the palettes. And then the blushes, I'm so in love with this formula. I tried one, I think I got it on Amazon a while ago, and I was just so impressed with it. This one is Velvet Petal. So that's a gorgeous rosy pink. And then the other one is Flourish, and this is a really pretty light peachy shade. So I feel like these are gonna pair beautifully with the eyeshadow palettes. This one looks like it'll go really well with Honeysuckle. All right, so here's the Flourish shade. So yeah, I feel like that goes together really well. And then Velvet Petal, I think, is gonna pair perfectly with the Wildflower one. So I'll just put that one over here. Oh my gosh, look at how gorgeous. That's my favorite for sure. Like, I love that color, but they're all really beautiful, honestly. So next we have the Forever Peach Just Kissed Lip and Cheek Stain. So this is something I haven't tried before, but I've always kind of wanted to. So here's a look at the packaging. It's just a really slim white tube. It's very sleek. And then here's the lip balm itself. I believe these are supposed to be like the pH adjusting type formula, but I'm interested to see what a peach one would look like because usually those are more on the pink side. So I wonder if this is actually going to show up peach or if it's going to look more pink once it kind of transforms. So let's see. It feels like a really nice balmy texture. And it does seem to have a little bit of a fruity scent as well, but I love that this is a little more subtle. I feel like the pH adjusting stuff is always kind of like this really bright, hot pink. And this looks like just a really soft, peachy shade. So, all right, we're definitely gonna play with all of this today. And I also wanna try the Fenty foundation stick from yesterday. So why don't we go ahead and get to it. All right, guys, so let's try out the Jane Iredale products. And also I wanna try the Fenty foundation stick from Monday and the Milk Makeup primer. So I'm gonna start with the Jane Iredale lip product. I just wanna put this on and kind of let it start to develop as I do the rest of the makeup look. And that way we'll be able to see what it ends up looking like in the end. So this basically just feels like a balm, and I really like that because a lot of lip stains are super drying. And I'm loving how hydrating this is. I haven't felt a lip stain like this before. Most of them just kind of have like an alcohol base, or they're just, like I said, extremely drying, and this feels really good. So we're gonna just let this set, and then I wanna move on to the new Milk Makeup Cloud Primer. And because I used the Ilia foundation stick the other day on bare skin, I wanna do the same with the Fenty so that I can really compare them. So I think for the Milk Makeup Primer, I'm just gonna put it on one half of my face, and that way too we'll be able to see if the primer does anything or if the foundation looks the same on both sides. So I think it's a good way to really test out both. So I'm just pumping a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm just gonna put it, I guess, on the right side of my face. As you blend it in, it basically just feels like water. It doesn't have that typical silicone-y primer-like feel. It has a little bit of a cooling sensation and it feels hydrating, but I'm curious to see if it smooths out my skin or if it changes anything. All right, so I'm gonna just let this set down for a minute. It does still feel a little bit sticky. I don't know if it's gonna stay that way forever or if it will eventually settle in. But for now, let's do the foundation stick. I'm gonna put it over, I guess, on the left side first, and then we'll do the right side. To me, this one felt a little bit smoother when I was swatching it than the Ilia one did. I thought it just kind of glided a little bit easier and it didn't have quite as much drag. But in the end, I did feel like the Ilia one looked pretty good on my skin. So we'll have to see how they compare. This one reminds me a lot of the Lancome one, which I really, really love. And I kind of feel like the coverage on this one is a little bit better than the Ilia too. So here we have this half of my face with the foundation stick and this half without. And just looking in the mirror, this side looks really, really good. So now I'm gonna put it on top of the primer. It did dry down all the way, so there's no more sticky feel. And I'm so curious to see if this primer actually does anything, because when I first put it on, I didn't feel like it made my skin look any different from one side to the other. Looking up closely in the mirror, I don't really see much of a difference between the two sides of my face. So like I said before, I'm not really sure what the Milk Makeup Primer is doing, if anything. I don't notice extra like radiance on this side. I don't notice my skin looking smoother. But one thing I am seeing as far as the foundation stick goes is it's clinging a little bit and making my chin look really dry. And I also see it doing the same thing on my nose, which the Lancome one doesn't do, and the Ilia one didn't do either. So even though this one feels very light and very silky like the Lancome stick, I think that one looks a little bit less dry than the Fenty. But that being said, I do feel like it looks okay on the rest of my face, so we'll just have to see how it wears throughout the day. Moving on, I really want to try the Jane Iredale eyeshadows, so I want to use the shade Wildflower today. I did want to try both of them, but when I pick my son up from school today, we're going to be going to my in-laws' house, and I don't want to be wearing like 2 different eyeshadows, 2 different blushes. I mean, they obviously know that I review makeup. By the way, I'm just putting the MAC Paint Pot and Painterly on my lids. Yeah, so they know that I review makeup, but I still feel weird going over to somebody's house with like 2 different eye looks on. So I'm just going to use this one. I mean, I think we'll get a good idea of how the shadows perform and all of that. So to start, I'm going to pick up the matte peachy shade on a crease brush. This is the A503 from BK Beauty. And I'm just going to start working this back and forth in my crease. It's a pretty light color, so I don't know how much it's actually going to show up on my skin tone, but I mean, yeah, I can see it a little bit. It's going to be more of a subtle shadow on me for sure. It's blending out so nicely though. I think Jane Iredale just does powder so well, any kind of powder products. Next, I'm going to deepen the outer corner with this darker shade right here. And for that, I'm using the A502 from BK Beauty. This is such a pretty rich brown shade, and I feel like, again, it's just blending out with almost no effort. These shadows are just so easy to work with and blend. I feel like they would be great for beginners or anybody who's just intimidated with eyeshadow and you have a hard time blending. I know I'm definitely like that. So these just make it really simple. All right, and then before I apply the shimmer shade, I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of the NYX glitter primer. This is great for just gripping any shimmer shade to your lid. It doesn't have to be a glitter. And then I'm going to pick up this middle shade with my finger and just apply this right to my lid. I love how dimensional this shade is. It has these little gold flecks in it that just kind of bring it to life a little bit more and keep it from being completely flat. But at the same time, it's also a pretty subtle shimmer shade. It's not something super metallic or anything that I feel like would exaggerate a lot of texture on your eyelids. So as far as shimmer shades go, it's not the most impactful. Even over glitter primer, I don't feel like it's the type of shadow that's really gonna pop out at you. And then I'm just gonna apply the Tartelette Tubing XL mascara. I'll just add a couple of coats of this and then we'll move on to blush. All right, so I really want to use the shade Velvet Petal. This is the one that I swatched next to these eyeshadows, and I felt like it just coordinates so well. So I'm going to pick it up on the BK Beauty 112 brush, and like I said before, these blushes are gorgeous. Like, watch how seamlessly they blend on your skin. They hardly take any effort and they just look so good. And this color is gorgeous as well. Like I said, she does powders really well. I love the powder foundation. It's one of the few that look smooth on my dry skin because I feel like a lot of powder foundations just look too dry. So far, I am really liking everything Jane Iredale. I'm not too sure about the Milk Makeup Primer. I just don't feel like it really did anything. And the Fenty foundation stick, I'm a little disappointed in. When I first swatched it, it felt so smooth. I thought it was going to be maybe a cheaper version of the Lancome, but I feel like it looks a little bit dry in certain areas. But I'll do a check-in later on today when I go to pick up my son from school, and we'll check everything out in natural light and see what it looks like then. Hey guys, it's about 3 p.m. I'm just waiting to pick up my son from school, and oh my gosh, it is so beautiful out. It's about 70 degrees according to my car, which is unbelievable for March in Connecticut. Usually this is kind of more like May weather, so this is a really nice treat. But anyway, as far as the makeup goes, I think it's holding up really well. I still see my blush. It's been about 5 to 6 hours since I applied everything, and the lip stain is still here. It's a little darker, I think, on my bottom lip than it is on the top, but it lasted even through like eating and drinking at lunchtime. It doesn't feel dry at all. And then as far as the eyeshadow goes, I think it still looks pretty good. The foundation isn't my favorite, and I feel like it's gonna be hard to see on camera. I'm filming on my phone, so I don't think it's like the best quality, but I still see that really dry area on my chin. Maybe I'll just take some still photos and insert them, and that way maybe you can see a little bit better. But yeah, I just feel like my skin looks really textured. I personally like the way that the Ilia one sat on my skin a little bit more. Even though I think the Fenty one feels a little bit silkier, it also feels drier. I really don't know which one I like like better because I feel like the Illy one didn't have the best coverage and this one does, but that one just looked nicer on my skin. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell, but anyway, I'll have to keep playing with them for sure. Maybe I'll try this over a different primer, something that's a little more pore smoothing, and maybe it won't look quite as textured. So anyway, I will probably see you guys again this week at some point when new mail comes in, so I will talk to you then. Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, and I just got a package from Moira that I could not be more excited about. Like, first of all, they have a new glitter primer, and you know how much I love the NYX one, but I'm really excited to see what Moira did with theirs. They also have some loose setting powder, so they sent over like a translucent shade and also a pink shade. New colors of the Love Heat Cream blushes, which are some of my favorites, and also new shades of their liquid blushes too. So there's 2 here, and then there's some on this side. And also they have some Lip Divine liquid lipsticks. So anyway, I figured we'd take all this upstairs, we'll swatch it out, and we'll try everything on. So let's get started. So, all right, let's go ahead and start, I think, with the powders first, and then we'll dive into all the color stuff. So this is their loose setting powder. It's paraben-free with a smooth matte finish. They sent it to me in number 7, translucent white, and number 8, pink. These are talc-free, they have collagen and vitamin E. And the description says that it's a weightless powder that delivers a silky, smooth, matte finish. It blurs the look of pores, fine lines, and softens your complexion. It's also supposed to absorb oil and hold your makeup in place all day with no flashback. So let's take a look at the pink one. So yep, just a regular sifter. Then the other side has this to kind of keep that locked down a little bit more. So let me just pick up a little bit of this. We'll put some on my hand and just see what it looks like. All right, so the pink one is definitely supposed to be a little bit more brightening. And oh my gosh, just like all their other powders, this is truly invisible. Like, it's never gonna look dry or cakey. So if you are a fellow dry skin person like I am, you don't have to be afraid of Moira's powders. They truly, like, they just go on and disappear. And yeah, this does not look powdery in any way. This side of my hand looks a lot smoother than this side. So beautiful. So the pink one is great for just like under the eyes or anywhere that you'd want to brighten up your skin. And then the translucent one is just for all over the face. It's kind of multi-purpose. You could use it under your eyes too. So yeah, when you first put it on, you can see the powder, but then as you blend, it just completely vanishes and it makes your skin just look airbrushed, like so super smoothing. I'm excited for these, you guys. I'm definitely going to try these out. Also, let's test out this glitter primer because this is so cool. Like I said, I've been using the NYX one, but my biggest complaint about the NYX is that you can't find it in stores anywhere. You have to order it online from Ulta. I have no idea why none of the stores carry it. Most of the drugstores in my area have huge like NYX displays, but for some reason that is just not in any of them. It's super weird. Packaging looks very similar to the NYX. I mean, I think they're clearly trying to dupe that one. Just for reference, I grabbed the NYX version. These are actually almost the same size. We have 0.34 and 0.33. So the Moira has just ever so slightly more, but it's just like a chunkier tube. So even though it's shorter, it has pretty much the same amount of product. So I'm gonna put a little bit here because I just want to test this and see how well it works. So I use glitter primer for pretty much every eye look, even if I'm not wearing glitter, because they help to make your shimmer shades pop. So you don't have to wet them. If you really want like that foiled look, it's amazing. So yeah, this feels really, really sticky. And I just grabbed the closest palette that I had near me. So this is the Anastasia Nouveau palette. So I just want to show you the difference. So for example, this shade Lily, if I were to put this on where no glitter primer is, like obviously it's a beautiful shade. It's really pigmented. But then if I put it on over the glitter primer, like look at this. Look at how much more intense that is. It's extra shiny. It's a little more opaque looking, so it even kind of deepens the shade just a little bit. This is actually super fun. I want to do another one. So this is the shade Wings, and here's Wings over glitter primer. They're just so much more like rich and beautiful. All right, so can't wait to try this for sure. All right, so let's get into the new shades of the Love Heat Cream blushes. So I have all of the original ones. I've showed them on my channel before. They're amazing. And these are duping the Tower 28 blushes. I find that the packaging looks super similar. The colors are really close as well. And one of the new shades that Moira came out with looks just like that new purple one that Tower came out with not too long ago. I don't have that one, unfortunately, so I can't compare, but it looks pretty similar to me. So I'm just gonna unbox all these really quick and then we'll do some swatches. All right, so first up we have the shade I Thank You, which looks like a really deep, rich purple. We'll see how it actually swatches. Definitely not as dark as it looks in the pan. I'm just gonna do like a blended out swatch next to it so we can see what the color might look like actually on your skin. I've been really into purple blushes lately because having a cool undertone, sometimes like a cooler pink that looks like this, actually ends up looking a little peachy when it's against my skin tone. Like if a warm tone person puts this on, it's gonna look cool on them. But when you have a cool undertone, it's really hard to get cool shades to actually show up that way. So the purple, it like just almost looks more pink on me than anything. So the next one is I Fancy You. Okay, so there's that one. The next one is I Desire You. It's like this beautiful orchid purple. This is the one that I think looks a lot like the new Tower 28 shade. And then there's what it looks like more blended out. Next is I Understand You, another gorgeous cool tone. I feel like so many of you guys were saying that you wished that they had more cool tone blushes, and I think they listened to us because I normally never see brands releasing this many cool shades. Look at this one. This is so, so pretty. I'm running out of room on my arm though. So this one is I Assure You. I don't know if I'm gonna fit the last one, you guys. So this one is like a really, really pale peachy pink. So I feel like this color and this one are probably only going to show up on like the lightest skin tones. The last one is I Treasure You. I don't even know where I'm going to put this. I have no more room. Maybe I can kind of squeeze it in over here. So that's that one. And then let me just try to do a blended out. I'm going to try to just squeeze it in. So yeah, this one looks like it totally does not go with the rest of the colors, but overall, these, I can't wait to try them. They look so gorgeous. All right, next let's do the Love Steady liquid blushes. So again, these have the radiant finish. It says dewy finish, weightless, 100% vegan, and a natural flushed look. So the first shade we have is called Because of You. Looks like a really beautiful pale pink. Okay, so that's what it looks like blended out. I honestly don't think it looks super sparkly. So hopefully it's not too bad. I like glowy blushes, but not ones that are like over the top glittery, because I think then they just accentuate the pores and texture a little bit more on my face. So the next one is My Everything. These look like such fantastic spring shades. So yeah, this color is just absolutely stunning. Again, I don't really see a ton of glow in these, so that's actually a good thing. I'm not mad about that. This next shade is called Only One. So here's the blended swatch, and then here's the full swatch. This one's a little more peachy. Next up is Dreamboat. So again, we have the blended color and then the full swatch. I feel like this one has just a little bit more pink in it than this one does, just slightly. This next one is called Sweet Stuff. And this one is like a peachy nude. And then the last one is Whole Heart. This one is like a super pale baby pink. It's really cool toned, or at least it looks like it is. Let's see. All of these remind me of spring so much. All right, so there you have all of the different shades. What do you guys think? Which one is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. Then last but not least, they sent over the Lip Divine liquid lipstick, and these say that they're a lightweight waterproof formula with castor oil, coconut oil, and argan oil with comfortable wear without drying your lips. Honestly, I haven't found a waterproof matte lipstick that didn't dry my lips yet, but hopefully this will be the first one. So the first shade is Amused, and I'm just gonna put these on the back of my hand. Ooh, that color is beautiful. That is so pretty, like perfect for spring. The next shade is called Love, and these don't have any scent, by the way. Oh my gosh, this one is gorgeous too. I really hope I like this formula because I want to wear these colors so badly. And then the last one is Truth, and that's what that one looks like. Yeah, these are all shades that I would definitely wear. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and do a try on. All right, guys, let's try on all of the new Moira stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. I'm thinking because I do want to try the Supergoop, but I want to like leave this on and wear it throughout the day. So this will probably be the last step. I think for now, while I try on all the different shades of blushes, I'm just going to put on the Ilia foundation stick just as a base because I'm going to have to keep wiping it off anyway. So it doesn't make sense to try the Supergoop just yet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend this in on my cheeks. I'd rather try on the blushes on top of foundation rather than not because that's the way that I'm gonna be wearing them in real life. So I guess we can start with the liquid blushes first. I'm just gonna go through these really quick. I'm not gonna do a lot of talking because we already kind of swatched them and talked about the formula. So I'm just gonna show the colors really fast. So this first one is Whole Heart. And this is such a gorgeous pale pink. It does have that little bit of like a dewy glow to it as well. And then over here, I'm gonna do the shade Sweet Stuff. And this shade is more of a peachy nude. I think both of these colors are probably better suited toward really fair skin tones. Next up is the shade Because of You. This one's really similar to the first color that I used, but it's just ever so slightly deeper. And then over here, I'm putting the shade Dreamboat. And this is that gorgeous coral shade that I loved when I was doing the swatches. It just really brightens up your whole face. So again, this is Dreamboat, and over here we have Because of You, which is a little more of a cool tone pink. And then the last shade they sent is My Everything. And this is such a beautiful pop of bright pink. So these, like formula-wise, remind me a lot of the Rare Beauty liquid blushes, the Radiant version. They're so similar. They have that really like dewy feel. They don't completely dry down, but I don't feel like they're sticky either. They just leave your cheeks feeling slightly dewy. Overall, I think these are just such a great dupe for the Rare Beauty. They really do feel similar. They're super pigmented like those are. So I think these are awesome. Okay, so let's move on to the Love Heat Cream blushes. Again, these are such a fantastic Tower 28 dupe. And I'm gonna start with the dark purple shade called I Thank You. And I'm just gonna dip my brush right into it. I'm just gonna start stamping it on. This looks really purple, but purple blushes are amazing on those of us with cool tone skin because they really stay looking cool tone. They don't turn orangey or peachy like a lot of pink blushes do. I find that once they're blended out, they just look like more of a cool tone pink. So there you go. See, it's not so scary. It actually is really pretty. I love this color. Next up, we have I Fancy You, which is that bubblegum pink. And while these are pigmented, I find that they're not as pigmented as the liquid ones. They're a little bit easier to use. Okay, so here's I Fancy You on this side. So you can see that even though it's a really cool tone pink, it can pull a little bit warmer on my skin, whereas the purple actually does look cool toned. So if you have warm tone skin, this is gonna look cooler on you than it does on me. But either way, I think it is a beautiful color. Next up, we have the shade I Desire You, which is also purple, but it's a lighter purple. This was that orchid color. So this time I'm just gonna apply them with my fingers and I can show you that method as well. You can use a sponge too. Those are gonna sheer it out a little bit more than a brush or your fingers would. But again, if you're using your fingers, I would just kind of tap and blend rather than swiping too much. All right, this color is stunning. You guys, if you've been looking for really cool tone blushes, definitely check these out from Moira. And by the way, I don't even know if I mentioned, I do have a coupon code to save 15% at Moira. If you're interested, it's Jen15. So if you are planning on placing an order, don't forget to use that as well. Next, I have I Understand You, which is pink, but it kind of leans a little bit purple. It's almost like a lavender. So this is kind of the paler version of I Desire You, which is on the other cheek. So they look very similar, just this one's lighter and then this one goes a little bit deeper, but I feel like the tone is almost the same. All right, so we're down to the last two. These are the warmer tone ones. So I have I Assure You, which was that light peachy shade. And this one I feel like is only gonna show up on the palest people. You can see like just one coat on me. It barely shows up. It reminds me a little bit of Tinge from Lorac, if you're familiar with that blush. I love that one, and this actually has a really similar tone to it as well. It's almost the same color from what I remember. And then And the last shade is I Treasure You, which is kind of like this terracotta color. I have to say the one and only thing I don't like about these blushes is that they're a little bit hard to open. Like the compact is hard to open, but I find the same thing with the Tower 28. So it's just, I think, the way that it's designed. But whoa, this is a little bit of a deeper shade. I'm just gonna try to sheer it out. I mean, if you have a fair to light skin tone, I would just go a little bit more sparingly with this one. So we have I Treasure You over here, and I Assure You over here. So now that we tried all the blushes, I really want to try the Supergoop Protect Tint SPF 50. So I don't know if this is going to be enough foundation wise. I might have to add something else on top. This might just be more like a tinted primer, but we'll see how it goes. And you do have to apply like a really generous amount of a product like this to get the amount of SPF that's listed on the packaging. So you really want to just load this on for sure. So I just used a pretty generous pump for my cheek area. I'm going to go back and get another squirt for my forehead. And this feels super hydrating. It feels like I'm putting on a rich moisturizer, which I think my dry skin loves. I don't know that those of you with oily skin are gonna love it. It has a sort of cushiony texture that reminds me a lot of like the new Hourglass skin tint or the Milani skin tint that they have out. I mean, it's really, really dewy. All right, let me just get more to put on my chin. But that being said, I think this actually has pretty decent coverage. Like I feel like it's evening out my skin tone really nicely. Let me just zoom you guys in and we can see what this looks like close up. So I am pleasantly surprised by the coverage that this has. Again, it's not a full coverage product by any means, but I do feel like it evened out my skin tone really well. But on the other hand, it is a really radiant, dewy finish. So that can sometimes draw attention to pores and texture that might be on your skin. So it's not gonna look quite as smooth as something that would be a little bit more matte, but it also feels very hydrating. I don't think there's any danger of this looking flaky on your skin or grabbing to dry patches. I think it just really feels like a rich moisturizer. So if you're dry, I think that's a really good thing. While we're zoomed in, I actually want to try the Moira powder and we'll see how this looks because I might be able to take some of that texture down with the powder and then we can kind of compare from one side to the other. So I'm going to use the powder brush from my Jen Phelps Doll 10 brush set and I'm just going to start applying this under my eyes and also on my cheek area. And again, this is a talc-free formula in case any of you are avoiding talc. And I'm also just gonna put a little bit on my forehead, just on this one side. So let me just show you guys, I have the powder here on my forehead, on my cheek, and then on my chin. So it all looks really smooth. There's no powdery like residue. It doesn't look dry at all. And then when I flip over to this side, you can see it's more glowy. I see a lot of texture here compared to the other side. I see a lot of texture here compared to the other side. So it really just depends on what look you're going for. If you want the dewy, glowy look, you just leave it like this. And if you want like a little bit more flawless, a little bit more of the airbrush type look, then this powder is phenomenal. It looks so beautiful. Next for eyes, I wanna go back to these palettes again. I wanna do another look with the Dreamgaze versus the Natasha Denona. And I think I'm gonna do something like a little more colorful today. Yesterday, or when was that? Monday? Tuesday? Earlier in the week, I had done like just a basic pink look, but I want to go a little bit more outside my comfort zone this time and maybe try to use some of like the blue and turquoise shades. So I'm just going to quickly apply the MAC Paint Pot in Painterly as a base. And I'm just gonna let that set down and I'm just gonna make sure that sets down. Then for the Natasha Denona side, I wanna pick up this shade Brisk right here, this mint green. Mint green is one of my favorite colors. I'm really drawn to it, but for some reason I just don't wear it on my eyes very much. I don't know why. I'm just gonna add another layer and see if I can get it to show up just a little bit more. Next in the Dreamgaze palette, I'm gonna use the shade Bliss, which is this one. And I guess we'll see if this one shows up any better or if it's kind of the same. Yeah, it's kind of looking the same. I don't know anything about formulating eyeshadows, but I feel like pastels must be trickier to formulate because for some reason, no matter what the brand, I feel like they're always a little bit sheer and can sometimes be more problematic. All right, so next I'm gonna try this shade right here called Adriatic. It's almost St. Patrick's Day, why not? And I'm just gonna pop this kind of on my outer corner. It's not as dark as it looks in the pan, actually. It's a much lighter green. In the Alter Ego palette, it's Jade, so it's this one. And I'm just gonna put it in the outer corner over here. This one almost seems like it's a little bit more pigmented. All right, next I definitely want to try the glitter primer from Moira, so I'm gonna put this just on the lid portion where I'm gonna put the next shimmer shade. So just right from the inner corner to about the middle. And I want to use the shade Limoncello right down here. And I'm just gonna pop that right in the inner corner and start working it back toward the middle. This shade is actually really pretty. It doesn't translate super yellow. It just has an ever so slightly pale yellow tint to it. But right then for the Alter Ego side, I'm gonna put the glitter primer and I'm gonna use the shade Halo. And ooh, this one it's actually kind of more pigmented as well. It's just popping a little bit more, I feel like. I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like this eye just looks a little bit more vibrant than this eye. All right, so again, I'm just gonna apply the Tarte Tartelette XL tubing mascara and I will be right back. All right, so here's the final look. I think the Alter Ego side is definitely holding its own against the Natasha Denona, maybe even more so. And while the last look that I did, I felt like the Natasha side looked a little smoother and the Alter Ego one was a little more glittery, I think it's the reverse this time. I think this time the Alter Ego side, especially the yellow shade, looks a little bit smoother, and the Natasha Denona has a little bit more of those obvious glitter particles. But again, I don't feel like one is worse than the other. They're just different. So depending on your preferences, you may like one over the other. But overall, I've really been impressed by this. The other day, I know you saw me do a check-in like around midday, but even at night when I went to take my makeup off, I didn't feel like the Alter Ego one had worn off any sooner than the Natasha Denona. They looked about the same, and I didn't use glitter primer the other day. So I think the shadows definitely held up well for me. So while this is not my favorite color story, and I don't expect that I'm going to be reaching for it a lot compared to some of my other palettes, it is more of a unique palette to my collection. I don't really have a lot of these colors, and I don't believe the pastel palette is even available anymore. So if you like this, definitely check out the Alter Ego one, and I do have a coupon code with them as well. It's Gen 10. All right, so when it comes to blush, I think I'm just going to use a really light soft color because I have a lot going on my eyes. So this is the Love Heat Cream Blush from Moira in the shade I Understand You. This was that lighter orchid shade, and I think a cooler tone will just look really nice with this eye look. And then just quickly for lips, I want to try the new liquid lipsticks from Moira. So again, I have the 3 shades. I figured I would just try them all on really quick. I am wearing a little bit of lip balm. I have the Tripeptide Plumping Lip Balm from the Inkey List on, so I figured it's probably a good idea just in case these are a little dry. So the first shade is Amused. This was that lighter pink. I wasn't sure if this was going to be too light for me. Let's see. All right, so with these, you really don't need a lot, just a little bit. I just put some on my bottom lip, pressed them together, and it was enough to cover my whole lips. So anyway, this one is Amused. And then the next shade is Love. This one is really pretty. I love the little bit of a purpley undertone that it has. And then the last shade is Truth, which is more of a neutral pink. And I have to say, these are so weightless. It doesn't feel like you're wearing a lip product at all. So I'm just gonna like go about the rest of my day. I'm gonna leave this one on. I'll see how it wears, and I'll do a check-in like at school pickup again, like I usually do, which is in like about 5 hours or so. So I will see you all then, and we'll see how everything is holding up. Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly pop on. It's about 3 o'clock, so I wanted to just give you an update. I think the eyeshadows still look really good. I think the Alter Ego one is maybe still slightly more pigmented. It's just holding up really well, and the glitter primer I think did a great job at like really making those shadows pop. I really love the way that the Supergoop tint looks. Even in natural lighting, it looks really good. Plus I had put the Moira powder on top of it, and I don't feel like it looks dry or cakey or anything. The only thing I'm not crazy about right now is the Moira lipstick. I had to put more lip balm on because it is so dry. Maybe like half an hour after putting it on, I just felt like I couldn't take it anymore. My lips just felt like you know, they had all the moisture sucked right out of them. So, I mean, it is holding on really well. Like, it's still here through eating and drinking and everything. I think it's a really long wearing product. It's just, I can't stand the dry feeling, and I feel like I have to keep applying lip balm. But yeah, other than that, I feel like everything else is holding up really well. All right, guys, so this is the end. Let's quickly talk final thoughts and best and worst products. So I would say, just on the negative side of things, I didn't really understand this Milk Makeup Primer at all. I didn't feel like it really did anything. It felt like water going on to my skin. I didn't see any smoothing benefits. It didn't have like a sticky feel to help grip my primer. I'm kind of confused. I just have no idea what this was really supposed to do. I didn't notice a glow from it like they said. Maybe it's just not meant for my skin type. I don't know, but I wasn't a huge fan of this one. Also, the Moira liquid lipsticks, incredibly drying on me, even though they said that they weren't going to be drying. I do like how weightless they are, but I just don't see myself wearing this because it looked good in the beginning, and after like a half an hour, my lips felt so parched, even though I put it on top of lip balm. So I would say if you like liquid lipsticks, then you might really like these, and just how they feel like very light and they don't feel like anything on your lips. But if you're like me and you don't like dry lip products, just skip these ones. Also, the Fenty foundation stick, I wanted to love this. I know so many people love it, and really it's just so dependent on your skin type. I felt like I'm too dry for this personally. It just didn't lie smoothly on my skin no matter how much I moisturized beforehand. Again, I will keep playing with it. I'll try maybe putting on a couple drops of face oil before I use it, or maybe over a smoothing primer, or, you know, I'll try a couple different things. But for right now, I feel like I liked the Ilia one a little bit better. So I guess that's kind of a good segue into things that I liked, but I don't really love. So the Ilia foundation stick, I do like it. I don't think it's my favorite foundation stick. I still prefer the Lancome one. I think that one looks the best on my skin. This one is just not quite as creamy. It has a little bit of drag when you first put it on, and it also doesn't have that much coverage. I wasn't really able to build it up even in areas that I wanted to. Like if I added another layer, I still felt like it didn't really up the coverage at all. So the one thing I do like about this is it looks really natural. It didn't make my skin look dry. It has a lot of great skincare ingredients in it. So I think if you're looking for just like a very, very light kind of skin tint in a stick, this is a good option to check out. Also, the Jane Iredale eyeshadow palettes, I think they're a decent formula, especially the matte shades. The shimmer shades were a little bit lackluster for me. I felt like they didn't pop on my eyes quite as much as I would like them to, but I still think overall it's a really good formula, and it's really just a personal preference thing. If you like more muted shimmer shades and more subtle ones, then I think you'll probably really enjoy these a lot. Also, the Dreamgaze palette from Alter Ego was a like, not necessarily a love. And again, that's just because of the color story. It has nothing to do with the formula, because I think the formula is fantastic. I think they did such a great job at duping the Natasha Denona. They have the cream to powder formula in here. I felt like the shadows were nicely pigmented. So really no fault on Alter Ego's part. It's really just me not like loving pastels. Also, the Moira liquid blushes, I really like these a lot. I wouldn't say they're like at the top of my list, and that's only because they have that radiant finish. They're a little bit more of a dewy blush, and typically I like my blushes to dry down all the way. So for that reason, they're just a little bit lower down on my list, but I still think they're amazing. They're a great dupe for the Rare Beauty blushes. So I think these are a nice formula. Same thing with the Tarte Maneater. I think these are also beautiful, but in general, if I'm going to use a cream or liquid blush, I usually prefer the creams. I just find them to be a little bit easier to work with, but I do really like these, and I think I like the satin version even better than the radiant ones, because these aren't quite as glowy. And also, when it comes to the Glow Recipe niacinamide drops, I wasn't sure if I should put these in like the like or the love category. They're somewhere kind of right in between. I love how natural this looks on my skin. I love that it gives me that little bit of a bronze boost. But at the same time, I'm putting it under my foundation, so then I feel like the bronzy effect that this gives is just gonna get covered up with foundation. So in a way, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless I wanna just mix it with foundation to add, you know, to give me more of that bronzed look. But again, this is one of those products that confuses me, because if I put this on and I darken my skin tone, and then I put foundation on, which is the lighter color, then I lighten my skin tone again back to what it was before. So unless you're gonna be using these all by themselves, or using them to darken your foundation. And I'm not even sure how these would work on top of foundation if you wanted to use them as a bronzer, because it really just feels like a skincare serum. So I don't see it working the same way as like a cream bronzer or contour product. So I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence about these. I still have to try them out some more. I like them, but I'm not loving them as of right now. And then when it comes to things that I really loved this week, I would say the Supergoop Protectant. This looks so good on my skin. It gave me more coverage than I was expecting with an SPF. I mean, I'm wearing it right now and I didn't even put any concealer on or anything. I just think it did such an amazing job. This would be great just for like those everyday when I just want to put something on really quick and go. It's like my SPF and my tinted moisturizer in one. So it's just one of those really quick and easy products. I absolutely love it. Also, the Moira loose powders are fantastic, especially if you have dry skin. They're not going to look dry or powdery. So these are really beautiful. The Moira Love Heat Cream blushes have been a favorite formula of mine for such a long time. And these new colors with all the cool tones, oh my gosh, love them so much. I think these are beautiful. Also, the Moira Glitter Primer, I think knocked it out of the park. It did just as good of a job as the NYX one. It's about the same price as the NYX one. It's $6, whereas the NYX is $6.50, but I do have the 15% off coupon code for Moira, so this will work out a little bit cheaper if you're ordering from there anyway. Also, the Jane Iredale blushes, love these. These are such an amazing powder formula. If you're looking for something that really blends out so seamlessly, these are just amazing. Definitely check out her powder products because, like I said, they just are so smooth and seamless on the skin. And also the Jane Iredale lip stain, even though I'm not crazy about like the pH adjusting formulas, I really liked this. And I know that this comes in other colors, but this peachy shade in particular, I just felt like it made such a gorgeous color on my lips. It's not that typical hot pink that you usually see with this type of product. And it stained my lips for hours without being dry because it's in a balm format. So I thought this was a really cool product as well. So anyway, guys, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you stuck with me this long, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you happen to have some extra time and you'd like to watch more of my videos, I'll just put something right up here that you could check out next. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit the subscribe button before you go. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.